Hi everybody, this is Andrew Williams with Math with Williams. You're watching a video right now, and this video is focusing on getting your Google form assessment quiz test uh, sent out to your students. All right, so the purpose of this is strictly how do I get my students to take it? If you're looking for any other information about how do I create my Google form, how do I change it to a quiz, how do I break down the data, all that other stuff, check out my other videos. I have plenty of videos for you to check out. But that's not the purpose of this one. This one, I have a Google form. This one has 8 questions, and I want my students to take it. First option, if you have it available to you, is to use Google Classroom. Now, before we move to Google Classroom, you have to have this file, this Google form, saved to the same Google account that you run your Google Classroom with. It can't be like in your personal account and then you're using your school district Google Classroom account. It wouldn't catch it. Because here's what happens. In your Google Classroom, and this is just a sample math class I created, you're going to want to add it to the stream, which is what the students will basically see. So you go here and you click Create Assignment. For the title, I'll just say Sample Assessment Instructions. Please take this assessment. You can put whatever instructions you want, whatever title you want. Don't worry about due date. Don't worry about topic. You can set them if you want, but you do not need to. This icon right here is the Google Drive icon. We're going to go ahead and click on it, and I'm going to go to My Drive, and you need to find the form, the Google form, that you want your students to take, and then just double click. Now it's pinned the form I want to this assignment. I could set a due date if I want to. If I had multiple classes, I could click here and check several classes. So if you have 6th grade math during first period, third period, and 5th period, I could assign it all at one time and save myself some time. For me, I'm just going to have one class. I'm going to click Assign. Now in my stream, which is very similar to what students will see, it says Sample Assessment, which was my title. Here's my instructions, and then this will be right here. Students will see something very similar. So your students, you'll then instruct them, okay, log in to your computers. Make sure you're logged into your student Google account. Go to Google Classroom, go to My Class. This is what they'll see. And they'll click on it, and then it'll bring up the assessment for them. Here's some instructions for them to get going. Next. And then they can type in their name. So, I feel like doing football today. Aaron Rodgers, 5th period. Next. And then the questions are there for them to take. All right. So they'll go through and they'll start taking the assessment. When they're done, make sure that they hit the submit button. Always remind your students, make sure you take the entire test, read all the instructions. But that should be pretty simple from there. All right. So that's pretty easy to get your students on there, but that's only one way. That way was using Google Classroom, right? What if you don't have Google Classroom? All right, you don't have it available to you, because that is something that I'm sure some people are concerned about. So I have this Google form, my assessment. I want my students to take it. I do not have Google Classroom. How could I do that? Well, first thing is you're going to have to copy a link to this no matter what, no matter how you're going to disseminate it, get it to them. So you go up here to send. You can email to a person, but that's not too important. You can copy a link, which we're going to do in a second. You can embed the HTML code to your website if you really wanted to. There's a lot of things you can do. You can share it on Facebook, Twitter, Google+. This is the one you're going to want, link. Just click on the link, copy it, and then you're just going to paste that link wherever you need to paste it. If you have a classroom website, you use Weebly, Google Sites, whatever you use for your classroom, you can just paste that link, make it a link. And when students go there, we just paste my link up top, it's going to be just the assessment. It's going to be the same thing we saw earlier. Boom. The link takes you here. Pretty easy, not too difficult. If you don't have a website, you do not have Google Classroom, and that link, let me see if I can go back here. That link is just too long, okay? Because the link right here, this is a long link. You can't write that on the board and expect students to type all this stuff accurately. It's just not going to happen. You can go to tinyurl.com. tinyurl.com. When you go there, you can shrink a link. So I'm going to paste that super long link, and then you need to come up with a name for it. So something that's easy, because the students are just going to type in tinyurl.com/ and then something pretty simple. For this, I'm going to put down Google form example. That may not be already available because people have already claimed certain links. Let me come up with something that's interesting. 2017. That's when I'm making this video. Make tiny URL. It was created. So instead of students having to type this in to their browser, they only have to type in this. Much easier. They don't even need the http://. And then when I paste that in the browser, or if I was a student, I'd type in tinyurl.com/ Google form example 2017. Type that in my browser, look where it takes me. It takes me to the same place as everything else. All right. The students don't need a Google account to take the assessment. They do need a Google account if you're expecting them to log into Google Classroom. But to take the form, they actually do not need a Google account. So if you're a person who wants to start using these, all you need is a Google account for yourself, which is free. You do not need Google Classroom. Your students don't need Google. And then you can just get students on computers, get them here using tinyurl, writing it on your board, on your website, and you can access the data. So by now, you're probably starting to say, okay, I'm thinking about the next steps. How do I break down the data, look and see how my students did? How do I grade it? How do I go over the data with my students? I have several videos online to help you out with that. Hopefully, you're feeling comfortable now with how to get your students taking the assessment. All right, if I didn't answer somebody's question on something, please do contact me. Email is mathwithdub@gmail.com. That's mathwithdub@gmail.com. And thank you for watching this video. Hopefully it answered a lot of questions. And now you're all set to go.